If you're someone that's been playing Halo multiplayer for years, have you ever stopped and asked why are Spartans fighting other Spartans? Why red fights blue? And why some maps don't even match the campaign? Because here's the thing, it's all canon. Multiplayer is actually part of the Halo story, and today I'm going to be breaking that down exactly why, from Halo Combat Evolved to Halo Infinite. So let's uncover the hidden lore of Halo's multiplayer. So sit back and relax and enjoy the video.
If you let the Spartans into your base and they open the main gate, there'll be nothing from stopping them from driving their vehicles directly into your base.
They can replay that.
Days are gone where the guys say, you know, honey, I'm going over to Jeff's house to go play cards. Now it's, honey, I'm headed over to Jeff's house to go play Halo.
Store guy left 3. You get that guy?
He's on one shot. One shot!
Really focused on trying to craft these moments that live up to the legacy of the Halo experience.
Trying to bring that across in multiplayer, that there's this whole universe out there, and you get to play in all these cool locations.
Hey guys, Sam just got the game. How excited are you, Sam?
Really excited.
A midnight release of Halo 3.
Now the year is 2001, it's mid-November, and this new game called Halo Combat Evolved dropped. Now this obviously kicked off the franchise as we know today, introduced the iconic character Master Chief, and just redefined console FPS games as a whole. But here's the thing, we're not here to talk about the main thing about Halo, which is Master Chief against the Covenant and trying to save humanity. It's more about the co-op side / multiplayer side of things. I mean, it didn't have a real lore explaining what it was or who we were playing as. There was no cutscene, no story, no explanation. You just loaded up the game and played split screen / land with your friends. I mean, at this time, Halo didn't even have an online service for it. But because of the games and books we have today, we're able to continue and go in deeper with what Combat Evolved had with multiplayer lore-wise. The year takes place in the year 2552. Humanity is at war with the Covenant, an alien alliance bent on wiping out humanity, and the UNSC creates a Spartan 2 program. Now this consists of super soldiers taken as kids and trained into elite killers just like Master Chief. The campaign focuses on Master Chief, but in the multiplayer, it's confirmed that you are not playing as him. You are another Spartan. At this time in 2001, it's unofficial that you are in a training simulation, but you are, but it's just not confirmed yet until later titles. Now, it's not stated in the game, but books and games, like I mentioned previously, will fill in all these gaps. I mean, these multiplayer sessions were likely training arenas. I mean, these locations were holographically created by Omni, which stands for the Office of Naval Intelligence. And these fights were obviously non-lethal, meaning that the respawning part of it is part of the simulation process. The red versus blue teams, well, that's called IFF. Identification friend or foe. Basically color-coded armor to make it easy to identify which teams are which during the exercises. So it's not really a war, it's just team drills. Armor customization at the time wasn't big yet, but the idea started forming more in Halo 2. But you could only choose one solid color for your Spartan, and each profile could have a custom name tag visible in game, split screen, or LAN. But Halo Combat Evolved didn't offer us a whole range of lore that we could talk about until later in the video. The year is 2004. Halo 2 releases and it changed the game yet again. It finally added online multiplayer and gave players the option to play as elites. That's right, the enemies in the main Halo storyline. Now this does raise a question, why are the elites fighting together with Spartans, or why are some of the elites even fighting each other when they're mortal enemies in the campaign? Now by this time, Halo still doesn't have an answer for why, but as we know with future titles, we know it's a simulation. And by this point, I guess you you could say some of the fan base could kind of figure out that it was not a live combat, but it was more of a simulation by Spartans and other soldiers just running on high-end Omni simulations to prepare for a real war. I mean, the elites are just avatars used in the simulation based on the Covenant enemy data, meaning that it is still a Spartan, but they're just using an elite data model to practice an alien combat scenario. And how do we know it's a Spartan using an elite avatar in Halo 2? Well, Halo 2 doesn't give us a full lore breakdown in-game, but over time, like said before with the books and future titles, especially in Halo 4 and 5, it provides enough evidence to connect the dots. I mean, there's no timeline in the game where elites are fighting with Spartans in Halo 2. For the last 2 titles, elites are at war with Spartans, and there's no such thing as them teaming up in either of those games. But in the multiplayer, elites can be on the same side as Spartans. You can choose to play as one. But in summary, this does confirm that the multiplayer and campaign are still in the same timeline. I mean, Halo 2 still does take place in the year 2552. However, it also confirms that the elites and Spartans are not actually playing alongside each other. There's nowhere in the campaign in Halo 2 or Combat Evolved where we see Spartans and elites actually teaming up together to fight one another. It's more, this just helps us reinforce the idea that this is still a simulation. It's just Spartans playing as elites in a hologram type model. Now, I wanted to take a quick pause on the Halo games and just talk about what ONI stands for, which means the Office of Naval Intelligence. Now, this is kind of like something that's like a space CIA or MI6. Now, this is a division within the UNSC, the United Nations of Space Command. They helped create, fund all these Spartan 2s and 3s and 4s, and they basically are responsible as well to AI and all the tech and weapons and simulation tools we see, meaning in the grand scheme of things, they're responsible for creating every game mode that we have in every Halo game, every armor that we see, every weapon, every car. They're the ones that manufacture it and actually create it. They're basically the source of everything, which I find that is really important to consider, because they are the ones responsible for making these simulations and these multiplayer maps that we know. For example, the map Zanzibar and Lookout are some real places, but they are scanned by Omni for training purposes, meaning that they're just fabricated scenarios for the Spartans to practice on. Now, obviously, Halo 2 didn't just spill all of this information out, but it did help build the foundation for what we would later be known as war games. Now, to talk about what they added as features for Spartans in this multiplayer that you could customize, well, they finally had added primary and secondary colors, and they also added an emblem editor, savable custom games and modes. In 2007, we saw the release of Halo 3, which takes place in the year 2553, 1 year after the timeline of Halo 2. Now, in Halo 3, the Covenant war ends, Master Chief wins, the Flood are gone, and Earth basically survives. Now, we do know in Halo 3 that if you've played the campaign, the Covenant somewhat teams up with Master Chief. I mean, it's not the whole entire Covenant faction, but just a specific group of elites. And this happens because the elites discovered the truth that the Covenant's religion was just an overall lie. I won't get too much into it for this video because I just want to keep it strictly about multiplayer, but maybe one day we can go in depth with Halo's campaigns and all that. Because we know that the elites and humans temporarily teamed up in Halo 3, this doesn't mean that they fully integrated into the UNSC, meaning that even though that you can play as an elite in multiplayer and that you can even team up with one in the campaign, people would think that, oh, because of this team up in the campaign, this obviously makes sense in the multiplayer why you can play as an elite, but no, it's still the same principle as Halo 2. They never fully trusted the Covenant, and they went their separate ways right after the war. It's because the multiplayer is still framed as that simulation, and it gives you that option to play as an elite even though you are a Spartan. Now, we know that the multiplayer in Halo 3 is the same as 1 and 2, meaning it's just simulations. They're exercises run by AI and advanced systems to test tactics, teamwork, and resilience, and just overall training for Spartans. But Halo 3 is the unofficial transition point where the lore kind of starts to begin, leaning more into the multiplayer as a training idea, even though it's still not said out loud by the developers. Now, Halo 3 gives a variety of different customizations. You could choose different helmets, different chest pieces, and even shoulder parts, and some were unlocked through the campaigns, and some were unlocked through achievements, or some were simply just from challenges. And they even introduced elite armor, even though there wasn't that many, and of course there's obviously the account features that you could choose, and just overall more online identity options. In the year 2009, we have a new game called Halo 3 ODST. Now this also takes place in the year 2552. Now you might be asking yourself, well, Halo 3 ODST doesn't have a multiplayer. But the thing is, it does somewhat help us explain a bit of lore with multiplayer. We know Halo ODST doesn't have a multiplayer, but it does introduce us to a game mode called Firefight. Now in the game, you're a human soldier. You're dropped into the urban warfare, and in Firefight, you survive waves of Covenant attackers. Now, lore-wise, Firefight is thought out to be a prototype for a combat simulation program that would be later used to train Spartans. Think of it like a tech demo for war games, except it's a co-op mode where players fight waves of Covenant enemies in enclosed arenas, with lives, scores, and increasing difficulty. Firefight clearly functions like a training scenario. Although there's no direct explanation of the firefight simulation in ODST itself, its design, reused maps, points scoring, and enemy waves all suggest it's a controlled training system. I mean, Bungie themselves even treated it as a competitive side mode, laying the groundwork for a lore-based justification for multiplayer. Almost an exact year after we get the release of Halo ODST, we have the release of Halo Reach in 2010. Now this one is big because Halo Reach is basically a prequel to all the other Halo games, and does mark the first time that Bungie essentially confirms that the multiplayer is canon. Now Halo Reach takes place in the year 2552, right before Combat Evolved. Now before we get into the game itself, around that time a novel called Halo: The Fall of Reach by Eric Newland covers the origins of the Spartan 2 program and includes detailed training simulations used by Spartans. This is relevant because it introduces the concept of VR training where Spartans engage in simulated battles, for example, Slayer Red vs. Blue, and this basically lays the groundwork for how multiplayer was later interpreted in other Halo games. I mean, it matters because this is the same concept through Halo 1 till 3. It shows that the UNNC has always used these simulations to train Spartan. Now, in Reach, the campaign follows Noble Team, but in the multiplayer, that's obvious like every other Halo game, it's just different Spartans running different combat simulations across bases on Reach. Now, Reach had one of the most in-depth customizations we've ever seen yet. I mean, your helmet with attachment add-ons, chest, shoulders, you could choose different armor pieces for either side of your body on your Spartan, knees and wrists as well to customize in your visor, and even a flaming head and different voices to narrate your game. And for the first time, you could also choose your gender. We see a return of Firefight as well, the mode from Halo ODST, and now it's fully supported by lore because it is a simulated wave defense against Covenant-style enemies, preparing for Spartans for real combat battles. And Reach basically sets the tone for what comes next with the Halo lore. Now, the year is 2012 and Halo 4 releases. And Halo 4 takes place in the year 2557. The Halo universe is still in danger. Rogue, Covenant factions, Forerunners tech, and rising AI threats enter the Spartan 4. These are adult volunteers who undergo enhancement and wear the new Gen 2 Mjolnir armor. You play as a Spartan and you aboard the UNSC Infinity, the biggest ship humanity's ever built. On board this ship is a high-tech simulation system called War Games. That's where the multiplayer happens, not as some side mode, but as part of the actual Halo universe. 343 Industries, through their official lore on Halo Waypoint, confirmed that starting with Halo 4, multiplayer is fully canon. War Games is where the Spartans train, and it's all part of the story. Both War Games and Spartan Ops, the co-op campaign, take place on the Infinity. You train in War Games, then get deployed in Spartan Ops. Spartan Ops isn't just a side mission, but it's a full 10-episode campaign, voice acting, cutscenes, and real story that picks up right after Halo 4. Even 343 confirmed that it is canon in their blog. Quoted, "In Halo 4, your Spartan 4 used War Games as a training in order to tackle missions that took place within the Halo Spartan Ops storyline. Multiplayer is how your Spartan trains, and Spartan Ops is the real mission. From Halo 4 and onward, every match, every loadout, and every skin is part of the lore/universe. You're not just playing Halo anymore, but you're living within the game." Since the multiplayer is officially part of the campaign and it is now canon, in the War Games, your Spartan basically jacks themselves into a neutral link pod in order to run training simulations that are nearly indisguisable from reality. And we already know that the maps are either based on real-world events or battlefields, or totally made up by Omni AI to just challenge Spartans in every kind of combat scenario. Now, once completing the campaign, there will be something called Spartan Ops, and this builds on the idea that multiplayer and campaign are a part of the same world. It follows real Spartan 4s like the Fireteam Majestic doing actual missions between training sessions in Wargame. Right from the first episode called Departure, you see the UNSC Infinity as more than just a background. It's a huge active warship where Spartans live, train, and launch into battle. The mission starts with a cutscene showing Commander Palmer, Captain Lasky, and Fireteam Majestic, all characters from the Halo 4 campaign. This ties everything together and shows that these Spartans are part of the ongoing story. Then you're sent into Requiem, the same planet from the main campaign, to deal with the leftover Covenant. Spartan Ops make it clear that the wargame simulations is how you train, and these missions are the real thing, so multiplayer isn't just something for fun, but it's how your Spartan actually trains to prepare for what's next. The year is 2015. Halo 5 Guardians releases, and it takes place in the year 2558, 1 year later after the events of Halo 4. The galaxy's in full meltdown. Cortana has gone rogue and started something called Created Uprising, using ancient Forerunner tech to take over AI across the galaxy. The UNSC Infinity becomes a hub for Spartans to train their defense and survival inside within the war games, and obviously this expands drastically because now Spartans train in a larger scale simulated battles, which is called Warzone. Now think of it as ground war from Call of Duty games, but except in Halo. Now this is a next-gen Spartan 4 training simulation developed by obviously Omni, and it just runs on the UNSC Infinity. It's more advanced than the war games from Halo 4. Full-scale battles with both human and alien threats used to train Spartans in dynamic battlefield conditions. That's why it explains the presence of enemy AI, friendly Spartans, and a massive vehicle use all in one mode. Now, one of the controversial takes I would say in this video is the rec system. Now, the rec system was first introduced in Halo 5, and it's like a reward system for the multiplayer. When you play matches, you earn something called the rec points, in which you can spend on rec packs, or spend real money on them. See where this is going? Now these packs will obviously give you random items like weapons, vehicles, armor pieces, and weapon skins, and other customization stuff. Sometimes it's just for looks, but some items can be used in the Warzone mode to make you better than other players. This is technically paid to win, and that's why it's controversial. Now, funny enough, the rec system actually plays a part in the Halo multiplayer lore because the Omni is responsible for quite literally everything about the Halo multiplayer we know now today. They invented these high-tech gears for testing, so the cosmetics that you unlocked in this game are made by Omni in order for you to test out the player, the Spartan, to use in-game for training purposes, which, I mean, I guess it's kind of cool, but at the same time it's kind of odd that pay to win stuff can fit into the lore. Halo Infinite is the last title we'll be looking at. Released in 2021, the game takes place in the year 2560. It's established following the events after Halo 5. The multiplayer experience takes place at the same time as the main campaign of Halo Infinite. So while your Spartan 4 is undergoing advanced training, Master Chief is actually out there battling the Banished. 2 years after Halo 5, the UNSC is in shambles, the Infinity was destroyed, and the Banished now controls the Zeta Halo. Most of the Spartan 4s are MIA, and the future, well, it's still uncertain. But Omni isn't done. They've set up a new training facility called the Spartan Academy, and this is run by Commander Lorette Agrina. And this is where you come in. Your Spartan is a recruit. You're part of the new generation of Spartan 4s. You train in live fire combat drills, running war game style simulations, and practicing for real deployment. Are either real academy locations like live fire, or simulations based on environments scanned from the Zeta Halo, like streets or fragmentation. And obviously the colors that we see from your Spartan, yet again, it's just the training colors in order to keep the teams separated. Even your personal AI, like Butler, are tactical companions to observe you and to help track your data mid-fight or after a fight in order to give to whatever your commanding officer is. Everything you do in the multiplayer, from Slayer or big team battles, it's a reflection of your Spartan in actual training and development, making Halo Infinite's multiplayer the most integrated into the main story so far, since Halo Halo Infinite now includes battle passes and seasons. It includes narrative, cutscenes, and voiceovers, and in-game text logs that continue the story. Now, there are currently 6 seasons that have happened in Halo Infinite at the time of this recording, and to give you a summary of all 6 of them, the first one, Season 1, is the Heroes of Reach. Now, the Heroes of Reach is the UNSC's new wave of training Spartans, and after the chaos of Cortana and the rule of the Banished Invasion, you're part of the new next generation. Now, the armor and cosmetics are obviously inspired by Halo Reach, as you can literally wear all of the past Spartans from Halo Reach's armor, like Carter, Emils, George, and Kat, and so on and so forth, meaning that if you're seen by June, one of these Spartans in the Halo game Reach, he will literally see his dead friends, because the outfits you are wearing are actually canon Season 2, The Lone Wolves. Now, Season 2, Lone Wolves focuses on 2 new Spartans, one called Sir Grid Eklum and the other one Hugh Din. Now, these are 2 Spartans classified as Lone Wolves, and they're elite independent operatives who were brought back into the fold at the Academy. Din was injured by a mysterious AI device hinting that a strange new tech, possibly from the Endless or Cortana's remnants, is still out there and dangerous. The Academy begins to investigate it. Now, this is where it continues in Season 3. Season 3, The Echoes Within. It obviously takes place after the events of Season 2, where it's revealed that Spartan Din was implemented with a foreign AI called Iridus. Now, it's an aggressive, possibly corrupted AI that starts learning and evolving within him, and the story shows the dangers of rogue tech still floating around, even though Cortana's not around anymore. Now, the Spartan Academy obviously tries to study Iridus, but it resists control, and this is where it raises the question about how AI and if it's safe to integrate it within the Spartans that are coming within the Academy. Now, Season 4 picks up on this, and Iridus becomes a major threat. Now, Season 4 continues this, called Season 4 Infection. Iridus becomes a major threat, the Academy's systems are hacked, and Infection Mode is framed as a real simulation of what would happen if rogue AI spread like a virus among the Spartans. So it's not the Flood, but it's kind of similar, and it's meant to feel like a digital version of that fear. The line between the simulation and the real danger is getting blurry, as the UNSC struggles to contain what Iridus is becoming. Now, in Season 5, Reckoning, the effects of Iridus and all the prior threats force the Academy and the UNSC to take Spartans into readiness war ready, meaning that Spartan Din recovers and begins mentoring others, and there's tension between Spartans who trust AI integration and those who don't, and the Academy continues to prepare for the unknown. So this season just basically focuses more on rebuilding and reflection of what had previously happened for the last 3 seasons, but it is the current season that we are currently, and it's the last bit of multiplayer lore that we have here today. While it's not heavy, Academy is now seen as a place where Spartans push past human limits, preparing for threats beyond the Banished or AI, possibly foreshadowing more of a cosmic danger like the Endless or a deeper Forerunner mystery. Now, I do want to clarify before I end things off that the fractured events, like the Tenaire, the Entrenched, and the Firewall armor, are not actual canon armor, meaning that when you see something on Halo Infinite and it says fractured, that means it's an excuse to say that, hey, this is like a multiverse, meaning that they do not exist within the main Halo timeline. I guess this does help separate certain cosmetic items that are canon based or non-canon based, so we know which is what in the actual lore, because some armor is just absolutely fucking crazy. Now, as I was recording this video, I guess since Season 3, The Echoes Within, they actually stopped producing story cutscenes and just kind of canceled making at all a big story out of Halo Infinite. So if you were hoping for more cinematic seasonal cutscenes, they're 100% gone now. But if you're following the multiplayer storyline, there's apparently in-game intels that you can find, but it's just not in the traditional full-scale cutscene, which is kind of unfortunate because that's how we really pay attention to the story. So it's kind of sad, but at the same time, I guess that's just gearing up for the next Halo game. Now, what could be next for the Halo multiplayer storyline? I mean, we could see a lot of things. We could see a multiplayer / campaign crossover. Maybe your Spartan from the multiplayer might show up in a cutscene for later Halo games. Who knows? One thing's for sure after this video is that Halo's multiplayer isn't just a side mode anymore. It's part of the future Spartans, and you're actually canon in the lore. If you've made it this far in the video, I would like to thank you for watching. Now, I'm sure I've missed a lot of details, I'm sure I mispronounced a lot of things, and I'm sure that I just messed up on a lot of parts, and I mean, it's a lore video and these things aren't supposed to be 100% accurate, so please let me know down below what I missed and what I could have said, and maybe we can revise it later in the future. And also all the footage and articles and sources and everything I used in this video will be linked in the description below, because obviously a lot of the footage I use isn't mine, so I want to make sure I give the right credit to the right people. So a lot of this footage isn't mine, so I want to make sure that I give credit to everyone and everything that I've used in this video. So please check the description below for everything used, because a lot of it is actually pretty cool stuff to watch on its own. But let me know which Halo multiplayer lore moment blew your mind and what game you'd like to see me do next. And I'll see you guys in the next video, and just remember to stay smart. Peace.